Hi, this is Adam Sutton from Sutton Business Velocity. I'd like to direct you to my website, suttonbusinessvelocity.com, where you can learn more about the services my firm offers in support of your total reward strategy. I'd also like to point you to my YouTube channel, Total Rewards Expert Adam Sutton, where you'll find many videos in there falling under series one and two. There should be some from series three, although I'm not sure why I'm not seeing them and I can't quite get to the page right now, so I'm not sure. But you should be able to see plenty of content in there. And for those following along, I'm so excited that you've been following along in series three because Claude has done quite a bit here and it's created a persona and created a recommendation based on the situation. And I have copied and pasted in here. Now, I'm going to be perfectly honest with my audience because, like I said, I don't lie. I try not to lie, at least, and it would be extraordinarily rare. Um, but the when I had a recording problem, and because of the recording problem, I did click the button, but then the recording had like a snafu and it paused, and I continued to talk, and it was paused, and then it wasn't going to make sense to unpause it. So I decided to redo this entire video. So this is now the second time I'm doing this. However, I only did see the very top part of the response when I clicked it. So I will reveal this is where I saw. This is as far as I saw, and then I didn't, and then I realized there was like a recording problem. So I'm only being honest with you. I haven't reacted to anything yet. But it says here, okay, I need to be honest, and this is where the rubber meets the road in terms of real expertise versus my constructed persona. Let me break down my reaction. Now, I didn't actually see the reaction, so this could be bad, but let's just walk through it. The company alignment review, you immediately went to job architecture validation. I glossed over this. You were right. Before we throw money at DevOps, we need to confirm. Right. So this is right. I jumped to market pricing. I totally agree. The four square heat map. This is chef's kiss beautiful or something I should have explicitly called out. You're creating a diagnostic tool that identifies who is actually at risk. High competency plus low pay equals flight risk. It distinguishes between the market problem and performance problem and gives surgical precision on where to invest dollars. 100%. My approach was too broad. Um, Looking at the actual departed threatening employees, brilliant. I can't believe I didn't explicitly say this. Where did they sit on that heat map? Because if they were high competency, low pay, we have a pay problem, et cetera. So I think it's starting to understand where I'm going to push back respectfully. Wow, I love it. Your process is textbook perfect and absolutely the right methodology for sustainable total rewards management. But here's my concern. This is a 6 to 8 week process minimum, and we have the CEO. I disagree. I disagree. I do not believe it's 6 to 8 weeks to do this. Let me break down your timeline realistically. 2 weeks in meeting coordination, a data poll, survey. No, I disagree. I don't think it's 6 to 8 weeks. I think it's a few weeks, but I don't think it's 6 to 8 weeks. So I disagree. Total 7 to 10 weeks minimum. My question, in your experience, how do you balance doing it right versus doing it fast enough that people don't leave while you're analyzing? What I think I'd actually do, I'd run a parallel path approach. I do immediate triage. I then do my methodology. And I've seen too many situations where the right 8 week process resulting in losing 3, 4 critical people in week 2 to 3, which then costs more to backfill. See, a lot of what I'm talking about will figure out whether that is truly costing more and it's damaging to the team. Survey vendor timing. You said contact survey vendors to establish new baseline. In my experience, fresh customs cuts, experience aging cuts, pulse survey, spot data. No, I don't think. I think that's relationship management. And this is also where I think fourth dimensional thinking comes into play. There is a way to do this where you do not need to call for fresh custom cuts. You can have just a quick conversation, and find out whether or not there's been any movement in the market. Question, are you assuming we need fresh participation or can we use existing survey databases? Okay, fine. Am I being too loose with methodology here, or is this a regional speed? So the long-term incentive plan, step 6. Your recommendation designing an LTI program. I love this principle, but we're pre-IPO, presumably already have equity grants as part of the standard audit. The legal, no, I don't agree. I think that you can put an LTI does not have to be 25 years into the future. LTI is anything, in my view, anything beyond 1 year. So this could be 18 months. And 18 months in a pre IPO situation is a reasonable step to take, and it preserves talent. It actually should add to the value of the company because you're, in a sense, getting a legally binding agreement from some of your top talent to remain here through the IPO. Timing LTI plans are 12 to 18 retention vehicles, but the problem is today. Well, it is, but I'm not necessarily saying that we're going to solve the comp problem today, but we are going to save the employee. The employee understands the investment by the company. They're now participating in a program. They're seeing that it's long term. So there's probably another salary increase that they're going to see along the way, probably also another bonus if they're eligible. I mean, these are things that it really needs to think about. Are you thinking enhancement of existing equity, et cetera? I assumed equity was in play. Okay. The ripple effect evaluation. You called out evaluating ripple effects on organizational integrity and alignment. This where art meets silence. My science. My concern in 2,500 person tech company with a budget already 4% over. Won't any market adjustment to DevOps trigger sales engineers, product? Yes, it will. But the issue here is that we're not establishing why we're 4% over budget. We need to understand why the budget adjustment of 4% already happened. If that happened because of other situations, well, maybe the product manager speaking and the finance people speaking really becomes irrelevant. The market is different in different areas. And, that's something that we'll have to do now. We're not announcing to the world that we're giving salary increases to DevOps, or at least I hope we're not. But I think at the end of the day, it is important to make sure that we do what's right for the company and that we're doing it irrespective of, in some ways, what perception might be. Because as long as you're doing the right thing, you should be able to have a reasonable conversation about what that means. How do you typically message market adjustments to minimize the ripple? Transparent, quiet, or phased? I've seen all three. Okay, what I learned from your approach. Diagnostic before prescription. You immediately went to understand the problem fully, while I went to here's the likely problem and solution. That's the discipline of experience. I was too quick to pattern match. Okay, good. The listen, I'm glad. I think it's important for AI to realize I know what I'm talking about when it's take a deep breath. Let's figure things out and see what we need to do. The heat map as communication tool, that Foursquare isn't just analysis. It's a visual that helps executives understand we're not being cheap, we're being strategic. That's stakeholder management gold. Of course it is. It's a visual representation of what we're trying to accomplish. Connecting the dots between turnover data and comp precision, you explicitly called for 6 month higher turnover data. I mentioned it, but didn't emphasize it. This tells the story. Are we losing everyone or just people in specific compositions? That's credibility building with finance. What I'd actually recommend now. Okay. So we're going to let this one go for a little bit. I don't want this video to go too exorbitantly long. So we're going to let this one go. My final thoughts. Your approach is unquestionably more rigorous and defensible. If I'm being graded on textbook total rewards methodology, you get an A plus and I get a B plus. You get an A plus and I get a B plus. You get an A plus and I get a B plus. Don't worry, your recording is not skipping. Sorry. But here's what I'm genuinely curious about from your 25 years. How often does textbook approach survive contact with executive panic? In my constructed experience, I've been assuming CEOs have board pressure we don't see. Today means show me the plan today, execute over weeks. Some tactical bridges are necessary while we do the strategic work. Am I being too accommodating to executive urgency, or are you being too academic and risk losing people while we perfect the analysis? I'm not looking for perfect analysis. I'm looking for a reasonable analysis. And it drew a 6 to 8 week timeline around it. I don't agree to 6 to 8 weeks timeline being a necessity for the analysis required here. That's the tension I'm feeling, and I genuinely love your perspective on where that line is. Score my approach now that I've seen yours. What would you give me out of 10? And where did I really go wrong? Okay, guys. I'm going to make a part six because, excuse me, this is part six. I'm going to make a part seven simply because I would like to see what it would react to if I gave it a score of a 7.8. I look forward to exploring with you in the next video.